Stay tuned for today's Antidote, brought to you by the Renegade Success Network. Today's Antidote features a healthy dose of thought-provoking insights and information for business owners, entrepreneurs, leaders, and nonprofit professionals. Each day since March of 2020, this program has offered that one thing to help you continue on your own unique pathway to success. And now, Renegades, we bring you Bob Graham and Tom Brush.
Hi, Tom. Happy Friday.
Good morning, Bob. How are you today?
I am not good at all. And I'm just going to put it out there.
Wow.
I think everyone's going to understand very quickly why I'm so upset.
Okay.
Yesterday, People magazine announced the sexiest man alive. I have been nominated now 13 straight years.
Wow.
I've lost to Sean Connery and Kevin Costner and on and on and on. And this year, Paul Rudd. I mean, come on. Paul Rudd. I'm better looking and more exciting than Paul Rudd. Look at this. I mean, come on. Look at the way my hair is not perfect. Look at how my glasses are kind of askew. Look at how I've managed to wear a fluorescent color and blue together. Paul Rudd wouldn't do that. What does he wear? Costumes that they provide him by really expensive people. I'm doing my own fashion, Tom. I am really mad about this.
And you've done 448 episodes of a show. How many has he done a show with 448 episodes?
Not to my knowledge. And I have people who have nominated me. I've paid them dearly to do so, so I know they're doing it. I have tried to talk to the committee members. I hang around People magazine at least 2 times a year. You thought I went to New York to do like Broadway shows. That's what I tell people. But I'm actually standing outside the People offices going. And I've even paid people $20 to walk by and go, oh my God, that's the sexiest man alive. Tom, I have worked hard at this and it has not manifested itself. So today, I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all. And now I've got to wait another year to get
Can I ask you a question?
I rightfully deserve.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure, Tom.
Do you control the end result?
Seemingly not, but I put a lot of time and money into this.
Okay.
And it's frustrating me. You don't hear me get frustrated very often.
Okay. And someone else makes that decision. You sound like you have done many things that are going to put you in the best position to potentially win. Yet ultimately, somebody at People magazine makes the decision. Now, if you were sliding a couple $100,000 to the judges on the side, that might be another step you could consider to help you maybe get the results that you desire.
So people, if you would join the Renegade Success Network in droves right now, so I could have the $100,000 that I need to go out and really win this candidacy, that would be great. That's my appeal today.
Do you really want to be the sexiest man alive? Just curious.
I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. I think
there?
it'd be kind of fun.
Okay. All right. Why?
I think the women in my life would treat me differently.
Maybe. Well,
I mean, just all the women, not just my wife. She would treat me differently, of course. You know, I can only imagine what Paul Rudd's wife is saying today, as she's like, really. He's probably got a crown around the house, and he's all like, frankly, I would be if I were the sexiest man alive, because that would be my celebration every morning for that whole year.
Okay.
Maybe at the end of that year, I would be dreading the next person selected.
Maybe you'd win it a second year in a row.
I don't think that's happened.
Interesting. So there's still opportunity for you to win in the future. It's not like Paul's got it wrapped up for years.
No, it's every year. That's why I go up to People magazine every year in April and May, because that's when they're doing it, and I just pose there. I mean, I wear like GQ clothes. I get my hair all coiffed perfectly. I just look like $1 million. And I have people walk up and sit next to me and they look at me like, what are you doing, dude? And I'm like, come on. They go, oh, the sexiest man alive. I see it right away. Why can't the People magazine people see this, Tom?
I don't know. I think that they're doing the best they can with the resources that they have, and you can't control it.
Very disappointing. It's going to be very hard for me to celebrate in this episode.
Well, I think you ought to think about it. You can't control that.
I cannot control it. And I guess I have I guess what I'll celebrate is all the other people, the many, many people who have said to me since they heard that Paul Rudd was the sexiest man alive, they called, they've emailed, they texted me and said, Bob, it's a travesty. You should have won it. And so I'm going to celebrate all those people out there who have been nice enough to tell me I'm not chasing a fool's errand here. I'm not tilting at windmills. I, Tom, deserve to win. That's what I'm celebrating.
Well, one of the things that I said once to my parents, who said pretty much the same thing, like we deserve to win, that no one deserves to win. There are a lot of people competing, right? Maybe Paul did just a little bit more than you did. Maybe he stopped by.
Because he's a big movie star and he gets to be in all those movies and he gets to be on Friends and kiss Phoebe. Okay.
I'm just saying that maybe he did something different than you did that you're not aware of.
I'm in the trenches here, Tom. I'm doing it every day. I don't have people choosing my clothes and my lines and my whole persona. I'm living my life. I'm being me, man, and me's something valuable.
And the way you determine that it's valuable is by being in a magazine, saying that you're the sexiest person alive. Isn't it as valuable?
It was one of the top things on the Today Show this morning.
Okay.
I almost threw something at my TV.
Does that mean does that result determine success? Something that somebody else controls?
I guess not. Okay.
I'm just asking. You have if that's what's real for you, okay. I always hate to see people, it's unfortunate when people put so much emphasis on results they can't control and then let that take them down a path of anger, frustration, and being stuck. Just look at all the feedback you got from all the people who shared that they thought you were the winner.
Right.
Positive
I guess I should celebrate that.
There you go.
Okay. All right. And what are you celebrating today, Tom?
I am celebrating the show. It started off to a very interesting beginning, and I'm going to celebrate that.
I didn't even warn you.
Well, the other thing I'm celebrating is that, I think in the business world, there are plans that we make, right? Projects that we try to do. And I think you and I yesterday came to the completion, even at least the conceptual completion of our 6-week program and how we would wrap it up and what the next steps were and how we could add value, share that with others. And I think to me, that was a culmination, at least one part of the culmination of a lot of months of work trying to put this all together and to finalize it so that we could add value to the world. And I think that's what I can control, is that we could complete it, we can share it, and then we believe that others will get the results, and I can't control that. I can put it out in the world to make a difference because I believe it has value for others. So that's what I'm celebrating.
Okay. And that was only the 5th time we've been in the room together since we started all this.
I was trying to remember how many times that was when we met.
5. And it was also our shortest in-person meeting by far. If you think of how much time we were actually working on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I might disagree about that. When I dropped off your Christmas present, that was probably our shortest in-person meeting.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I'll give you that. All right. So, Tom, we've been talking about feedback all week.
Yes.
And and I know that it's Friday. And Friday is our Discoveries of the Week day. Woo, woo. Oh, I forgot the national celebration.
You did. It's not Paul Rudd?
No. It will not be Paul Rudd. It will be nothing to do with People magazine.
Okay.
It is National Pizza with the Works Except Anchovies Day.
Wait, what?
It is National Pizza with the Works Except Anchovies Day. I don't make these up, Tom. Why would I make that up? Do you think I make anything up on this program? Do you think I do any kind of acting at any point? No. No. Nay. I'm not Paul Rudd. Yes, I just said nay.
Wow. It is. There's something going on in this Friday. So, okay. It's just interesting that it's pizza with the works.
Except anchovy.
Except minus. It's not really the works then. And we don't have Renegade Day yet. That to me is frustrating.
And you would think that the anchovy lobby would be on everyone's case about that, right? I mean, come on.
Or they would be like, at least we were acknowledged. All those other pepperoni sausage, ham, bacon.
Yeah, like
apple.
if People magazine had said, we chose Paul Rudd because we have more pictures of him. But Bob was a really close second. And here's a little picture of him.
Okay. Maybe they will. Have you seen the issue yet?
I have not. Maybe I've only had issues. I haven't seen the issue.
Maybe it's a close second.
Fingers crossed. Someone let me know. If you get your People magazine, please let me know.
Are you a pizza with the works person?
Never had it.
Yeah.
And I worked at a pizza shop. I don't like mushrooms. I don't like olives.
Yeah, me neither. I don't mind meat lovers. Although that's
meat
a
lovers. Lot. Oh yeah. That's a 2 slice at the most kind of thing. Don't eat 3 or 4. That's bad news.
Yes, I would unless there's a pizza shop in Binghamton, and there's one here that cuts them into squares, but
yes.
There's one in Binghamton we live that cuts their slices and they're like small squares, and they would sell them by the piece. And so of course this group of people from my office would go over there fairly regularly. And so when you're getting smaller squares, it's a little bit easier to have 2 or so.
Okay. All right.
That was that was like a special treat.
Okay. So folks, it's a Discoveries of the Week day. It's the day where we culminate the whole week. Tom used that word and I just used it. We're overusing culminate. But really think about what we discovered this week. And this week we've been talking about feedback and both giving it, receiving it, how it fits into business, how it fits into life. And I think we've had some really great discussions. And I think it's really important today to kind of bring that all together, because I listened to all the episodes this week up to this point, yesterday and this morning. And we threw a lot of stuff out there. I mean, we are guilty of fire hosing a little bit this week. There were some really good nuggets. If you have not listened or watched those episodes, please, I encourage you to go back, because I really think, Tom, and this is what my discovery of the week really is, that feedback is even more important in the workplace than I thought originally. I thought this was just one more thing. But I think for most people, if you can figure out how to give and receive feedback effectively, that's probably the best definition of a good leader. You know, good leaders are those who can give and receive the feedback in a way that, and the way you give feedback may vary from person to person. Mm-hmm. And I receive feedback differently from you than I do from my wife, from my nephews and nieces, from my mother, from my sister. Different words are charged different ways. And I think that's what we ultimately have to wrestle with. And you can't just say, I'm the boss or I'm on the team and they ask me at the meeting, hey, does anybody have any feedback or anybody want to give their critique of what we did over the weekend? Oh, it was horrible. There are ways to present it. There are times to present it. Even when invited, sometimes I think it might not be the right time to present it. I think you have to be really astute and very cautious and really think about what the goal is. Because I actually gave someone some feedback yesterday and I caught myself as I was saying it. This is really more about me than them. And I immediately was like, oh, this is me trying to take control of something. I need to step back. What is the goal here? The goal here is for them to figure something out, not for Bob to be the brilliant person. And I literally stopped mid-sentence and said, you know what? I'm not sure this is the right this is probably not the right time. I need some more time to think through this. And the person was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't think I know what I'm trying to say enough to be able to say it in a way that's useful. And they're like, okay, well, if you figure it out later, call me.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts from the week?
I think I thought I wasn't sure where it was going to go when we started. I mean, I had an idea, and I think you might be onto something. I think it is a extremely valuable tool in organizations and to be a good leader. I think that's, that is if you're going to put together one of the 5 key things about being a leader, I would say feedback, being able to give and receive feedback is an important one. And I think that ultimately, to me, it's about learning and growth. It's when we get feedback, it's typically not necessarily about the results. It's usually about the actions that we take. And I think one of the things that we try to stress is that we should celebrate our actions, because many of them are very difficult to take, and we should also measure them. It's one of the key components of our 6-week program is really taking a hard look and giving yourself feedback on the day that you had or yesterday. And I think really that's what feedback is. It's an opportunity, I believe. It's an opportunity for us to learn and grow and to figure out how to best move forward. And I think whenever we can either receive feedback in that mindset or give it in that mindset, then we can be more effective at giving feedback, and others will likely receive it differently. I think so often it is given as or received as a criticism or a judgment of what I did, why I didn't. Usually it's not, or it might be like, you didn't reach your goal. And then the feedback is, I think you could have done this differently, or I thought you did this well. And so it's not necessarily just, which is interesting, that it's not just feedback on the results. It's feedback on the actions that you took, and the results are kind of bring to light maybe an opportunity to learn more about the actions that we took. And so I think that to me is a fascinating thing that I hadn't really thought about until now, is that feedback is really doing exactly what we talk about. Is how do we measure, how do we evaluate what we have done, the actions we have taken, so that we can figure out how might we be able to do them differently that might return a result, not just usually about the result. So that I think might have been my discovery for the week, was really one, that it is all about learning. And if you can come from that place, one, you will be more open to it. And like you, I think, shared, you'll be more cognizant of how are you sharing it.
It's a delicate dance.
Sure.
And I think one of the things I learned early in my career that probably is worth saying, and we didn't really say it this week, is just because you're the leader, or just because you're in a position where you have some sort of power or authority, doesn't make you the feedback king or queen. That
right.
Often in that role, it's normal to give feedback, but not everyone's effective at it. I've worked with bosses through the years that were marvelous at feedback and really helped me learn a lot about myself and about how I could exist in their ecosystem. I had other bosses that were just screamers, or they wouldn't say a word for 4 months, and then one little thing would go and they'd give you a litany, like they pulled a list out of their drawer with the 88 things you had done wrong for the last 4 months, 79 of which you could have probably learned earlier and improved the situation.
Sure.
And I also think the other thing is, most people are reluctant to be in a formal feedback situation. I was thinking about this playing golf the other day. One of the people playing said, "Hey, can I give you a piece of advice that I think might help you?" And the other person said, "Yeah, that'd be great." And it really did help. I think had he just said, "Hey, you're doing this wrong,"
sure,
it would have gone very quickly in a different direction. And I think we like to tell people they're wrong, because if we tell people they're wrong, we feel more valuable. And I think that's the other discovery of the week, as we've really gone through it. Who are you serving? When you're providing feedback, who are you serving? And when you're receiving feedback, who are you serving? Are you just trying to defend yourself, or are you trying to figure out that thing? And that's what I like about what you brought in, the whole day pack idea that we've built. The idea being it's around the actions. You're measuring the actions, not the results.
Well, and it's interesting as you were talking about that, and I thought about this a little this week and didn't share it, but I had a great experience.
Wait, we can think about things and not share it?
Well, you
this is new information.
Well, I was trying not to. What did you use? Water hose then, or
fire hose?
You know, when I was one of the first times I had a leadership opportunity, one of the people that I was leading, one of our team members, was writing content for letters, solicitation letters to donors, and they would share them with me, and I would put in my edits, and initially I would just hand them back to them. And one day the person came into my space and just said, "Hey, you know, I appreciate it. You know, they were thankful that I had made some edits." And they're like, "Well, I'm not sure why. And if I'm going to grow, it would be helpful for me to know, why did you phrase this way? Not just, here is, you know, it might have been me saying, this is the right word. This is the right phrase. This is the right information to share." And that was a really helpful reminder to me as a leader, or maybe an awareness. It made me aware that it is really about, how do we help others get better, and how do we help them grow and discover new things about themselves when we provide feedback, not just us being right. And that was a really helpful tip, and I really appreciate it. I mean, and it was interesting when they said it, I was not put off. I was like, wow, I had never really thought about it that way. So I appreciate you sharing that was what you were you're trying to learn. And learning isn't just taking something you've written, taking somebody's edits, and just, okay, I'm just going to go in and change them. It's kind of like, okay, well, why did you write it this way? Let's have a discussion about that. And then we can talk about, because you might enlighten me on why that makes more sense than what I was thinking. And so I think I would boil it down for me is, if we can look at it as about learning, and that it's all about how do we continue to grow so that we can achieve the destination that we're trying to reach quicker.
There's no more to add to that. You pretty much, anything I would say would be derivative. So would you like to bring us to a logical conclusion to this episode, Tom? Because I've got to get back up to New York and start my candidacy for 2022. Okay,
fair enough. So everyone, thanks so much for joining us today. If you didn't vote for Bob, or you didn't put in a right, or you believe that Bob is the sexiest man in the world and should have won,
alive, sexiest man alive,
sexiest man alive, please write a note.
I did check my pulse this morning because I wanted to make sure I qualified.
Please send some feedback to People Magazine. I'm sure, hopefully they will take it appropriately and make a different decision next year.
And I'd love to see it in the comments as well.
Yes. Maybe that'll be something we put in the Ringer Renegades Facebook group. Really, who is the sexiest man alive? And a picture of Paul Rudd and a picture of you.
I like it.
Would you be okay if we did a poll, or would that send you off?
I'm absolutely okay with that.
Okay. Thanks so much for joining this week, everyone. I hope that you found some value.
You hope?
And I hope. I can't control that. That's up to them, Herman.
We hope.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What am I, chopped liver?
Well, you're not the sexiest man in the world, I guess.
The best part is you didn't even know it.
All right. So we hope that you found value in this show today. And we would love to hear if you have feedback, or if you have something around feedback that you would like to share. Please feel free to put it in the comments, especially if you're watching this on Facebook Live, YouTube, or Twitter. If you are listening to the podcast and weren't exactly sure what you were listening to at the start of the show, maybe thought this was a podcast from E Network. Please feel free to rate this episode or our
5 stars.
5 stars, and share it with your family and friends. I know that this time of year, especially, there are a lot of people who are thinking about feedback, considering it, looking
Avoiding
and trying to, but maybe avoiding it, trying to give themselves feedback on how the year wrapped up. So this might be some valuable information for them to hear, and it might impact what's real for them. So we hope that we will see you inside our Ringer Renegades Facebook group, or we'll see you Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern time, for our next edition of Today's Antidote. With that, I hope you go out and have a great weekend.
Hey, embrace the renegade in you and watch out for the pizza with anchovies. Just saying. Apparently, it's important not to have them today.
And you need to have everything else.
Right. Everything else.
Everything else except anchovies. All right, everyone. Have a great day. Thanks for listening to Today's Antidote, powered by the Renegade Success Network. The Renegade Success Network helps you confidently create your own unique pathway to success. To learn more about the Renegade Success Network and how you can take your next step, follow us on Twitter, connect on LinkedIn, or join the Ring of Renegades Facebook group. For full details on how you can join our community, go to renegadesuccessnetwork.com. Embrace the renegade in you.